It's doing considerably better in recent years?
Now, yes, because they just discovered also oil.
Really?
Yes.
Tell me about that.
Offshore, yes. So they have oil. They haven't actually exploited it yet, but it is considered one of the commodities of the Ivory Coast for the next few years and decade.
Now, the name Ivory Coast, is that anything to do with the production of ivory? I know it's illegal these days, but was it one time a capital of ivory?
Right. The Ivory Coast used to produce a lot of ivories, and it became illegal now to kill the elephant. What people we kill the elephant, we leave the elephant in nature, decay, and then we just get the trunks. And so with that, they make it illegal now to kill the elephants. So most people own ivories for rings or chains or collier. They do have them, yes.
Because there was so much in the market.
Oh yes,
from that time. Yes. When did they make it illegal? When did it become illegal?
In 1972, it was illegal to kill the elephants. Yes.
Now you are a world traveler, and this is part of the way that you learned languages. And what were your travels this last year, and where are you planning to go this year?
This year I plan to go to the Caribbean, which I haven't not much. But last year and the years before, I went to Kiev, which is in Ukraine, from Kiev to Hungary, from Hungary to the Czech Republic, and then to Vienna, Austria, and then Germany and France and Italy. And then I finished in Holland. The year before, I went to South Korea and Japan for 3 weeks, where I was able to practice my Japanese.
Now you ultimately settled here in the States.
Right.
Why? You've seen so many other places. What does the States have to offer?
I believe that the state, I also traveled in the Americas. I went from Canada to Argentina. So I figured that I speak French already. So if I go to France, it will still be the same language, or Canada. So America, I will still keep my language background, which is French, but I'll be able to also use the English, which I like, the English language, and also start a life here in the United States.
Okay, you felt there was more opportunity.
More opportunities professionally here. Yes.
That's wonderful.
Yes.
Well, you've done well for yourself. You know, you were very focused when you first came.
Yes.
What year was that when you first came?
1991.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. 1991. Yeah, I remember you're very focused, and one goal after the next.
Yes.
You accomplished. And now, I'm very interested in the way that the French had exited the Ivory Coast. Usually, we in the United States, we had the big, revolution, the American Revolution. We had to kick the English out.
Right.
In India, they had to kick the English out through maybe different means, but that wasn't the case with the French in the Ivory Coast. Can you explain a little bit of that history and why it was different? Okay.
The Ivory Coast was colonized by France in 1865. The Ivory Coast got its independence in 1960. In the meantime, they did what we call assimilated colonization.
That's the French idea.
The French idea, which was to include and to assimilate the local people, not to have them abandon or forego their religions, their culture or language.
The tribal
practices. You could
tradition.
keep it.
Yes.
So you can wear your national clothes, you can speak your local language, you can practice your own local religion, but you must learn French and be educated in French.
Why was that so important to the French?
Because those days, the idea was to educate the Ivory Coast person so they can read and help the French person and do the transaction there.
The trade.
Trade
and commerce.
Right.
Okay.
But there were so many children that they realized that they were not trying to educate one, but a couple million.
Yes.
So the Ivory Coast children took advantage of it to become educated that way.
Okay, so it was a positive relationship. There wasn't a lot of the contention that you hear in other occupations and so on and so forth.
It's different, yes. So the Ivory Coast, even now, the contract was that you have to continue selling your product to France. So the coffee and cocoa, we go to France. And in exchange, they protect the Ivory Coast army or government. So we had the French army there.
So you don't need you don't need to spend so much money on
the army. Yeah. No. There wasn't any army to protect the Ivory Coast. The French, they do have an army even today.
Was there a time in history where the French had to go to bat for the Ivory Coast?
No, because there wasn't any friction with other countries around, or no war around, so they didn't have to fight any.
So it's a fairly peaceful history.
Right.
You know, many other African countries, we hear so much war,
right,
warlords, and all this.
Right.
Very interesting. And but the Exodus, the French eventually did leave the Ivory Coast, but they had some demands, and it was negotiated.
Right. Right.
Tell us a little bit about that.
Okay. When the French left in 1960, the idea was to continue educating the local people in France. So all the high school students between 1960 and 1970 that went to France. They have to be educated there. And so when they came back, they will all have a job guarantee, and most of them got married there. So in each family, you have about 2 people who married French citizens, and they came back or stayed in France.
Okay, but France, all they really wanted was that they should get the first dibs on the cocoa and the coffee,
right,
and the chocolate,
right,
yeah.
Right.
So it was more of just their only demands were sort of economic demands,
right,
which was really why they're there in the first place.
Right.
They also demanded that French continue to be taught in the schools.
In the school, so in school, in the offices, and in business, in trade, is French.
So that'd be like the English saying to us, you know, we'll leave as long as you keep speaking English.
English,
right.
So if you don't stop, then we'll stay. Right? That's the difference in French.
Yeah, that's very interesting. You know, the French had a different attitude. Like in America, in our history, we had the French here, and they sided with the Indians. You know, with the French and Indian Wars.
Right.
And all they wanted to do was trade the fur with the Indians.
For
the economic trade and commerce and so on and so forth. The time has run out so fast. Would you, when you write another book, would you come back again and tell us about it?
I will certainly do that, and I'm glad to be here. And thank you for the program. Thank you to you also.
Assi,
I appreciate that.
Shalom Abracha.
Shalom. Thank you.
Love is a light that casts away darkness. It finds its way into every heart. Pour forth your soul.